Hey guys, it's me, Miss Mills, and the whole point of this video is to help you out with equations and graphs worksheet. So, what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to pull a few questions from this worksheet right here and walk you through them, kind of show you how to do it, and we should be good to go. So here's the thing. If you remember from your notes from yesterday, we have this equations and graphs notes. If you remember from your notes yesterday, we talked about how to write an equation. And what it basically says is you need two pieces of information to create an equation. The first thing you need is the slope, which is also known as m. And the second thing you need is the y-intercept, which is going to be your b. And then if the graph is proportional, so if it goes through the origin and it is a straight line, your graph's going to look like this, or your equation's going to look like this, where you have y equals mx, where m is the slope that you have to find. Now, if the graph is not proportional, that means it has a y-intercept. That means the line does not go through the origin. You will have to make your equation look just like this, which is going to be y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. So I'm just going to write that slope-intercept form on my notes real quick. So we know that each time, this is what we want to make. We want to make this where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's look at our worksheet real quick. The first one I want to do is let's go ahead and do number 1, where we have a slope of negative 3/5, and then a y-intercept of -1. Cool. So we have both of those things. So all we have to do is put the slope in the correct place on this equation, and then we have to put the y-intercept in the correct place in this equation. So our equation is going to look like y equals, what is our m? M is slope. Our slope is -3/5. We got to make sure we put that x beside it, and then we have to put our y-intercept. Our y-intercept is a -1, so therefore our equation would be -1. And guys, that is going to be your answer. You just have to find those two pieces of information, the y-intercept and the slope, and put it into slope-intercept form, which is this equation right here. So you just plug them in, and that's all you have to do. And that's all you have to do for number 1. And there it is. So your equation is going to be y equals -3/5 x minus 1. All right, cool. Let's go ahead. Sorry, I'm struggling with the iPad real quick. All right. All right, so let's do number 6 real quick, where we have a slope of 1 and a y-intercept of 0. All right, cool. So if we have a y-intercept of 0, that means that our graph goes through 0 on the y-axis. That means that this will be a proportional graph, because if the line goes through 0, that takes care of the two things you have to do to have a proportional graph. One thing has to be a straight line. We have a slope of -1, so yeah, that would be a straight line. And then you have of 1, so that will be a straight line. But then you have a y-intercept of 0, so that means it goes through the origin. So therefore, this will be a proportional equation. So if we remember, when we talked about proportional equations, it's going to look just like this. It's going to be y equals mx, with the m being your slope. So let's go ahead and do this real quick, where we have the slope of 1 and the y-intercept of 0. So we will put y equals, our slope is 1, x plus 0. But at the same time, you don't need this 1 and you don't need the 0. The 0 is not necessary to add a plus 0 at the end, so we can just get rid of that. And if you just have this x right here, there's an invisible 1 in front of it. So it's up to you if you want to keep that 1 there or not, but at the same time, it's not going to be necessary. So our equation is y equals 1x or y equals x. Let me do one more just to help you out. All right, let's do number 9 real quick. So we have a slope of 9/4, and then we have a y-intercept of 5. Y equals mx plus b. All right, let's do this, guys. So here's our slope, here's our y-intercept, and here's the equation we're trying to make. So all we have to do is put y equals our slope, our m, is going to be 9/4, so I'll go ahead and put that in. Got to make sure we put that x in there. And then our y-intercept, or our b, is going to be 5, so we'll put plus 5. And bing, bang, boom, guys, you got your answer. And that's it. If you have any questions with 1 through 10, make sure you don't hesitate to contact me and we'll figure it out together. But it's time to talk about the rest of the problems, 11 through 20, which will be a little bit more difficult because you have to find the slope and you have to find the y-intercept on the graphs and then put it into the equation. So let's do number 11 real quick. First things first, we want to find the slope. So our slope is, if you remember, it's going to be rise over run, or how you moved vertically from a point and moved from left to right on the denominator. So first step is we're going to pick 2 points. I'll pick this point right here and this point right here. In this case, for rising, we moved up just 1 time. So that's going to give us a 1 as our numerator for the slope. And then we move to the right 1, 2, 3 times. So our denominator will be 3. And that's going to be our slope, guys. So we moved up 1 time to get from 1 point to the next point. And then we moved to the right 3 times. So this will be our slope right here. This is a positive slope. And if you look back at the graph, if you had a little man on the left-hand side of it, and he was walking to the right, he would be walking uphill. So therefore, this is correct. This is a positive slope. So we got our slope. Now we need our y-intercept. So what our y-intercept is where this line crosses the y-axis. Here's the y-axis right here. And if you look at the line, if you follow it, you can tell that it crosses at -4 on the y-axis. That means that -4 is our y-intercept. So that's going to give us -4. All right, so let's look at this again. Now we have our slope, which is 1/3. And then we have our y-intercept, which is -4. Now that we have both of that information, we can put it into slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So let's do this. The equation will give us y equals, m is 1/3, our slope is 1/3. Make sure to put that x beside it, and then our y-intercept is -4. So here is our equation right there. Y equals 1/3 x minus 4. That is the equation of that graph. Let's do another one. Let's go ahead and let's do number 13 real quick. So here's the thing about number 13. It is a horizontal line. And if you remember from your notes, a horizontal line, well, actually, the equation was right here. Well, equations of a horizontal line. Here we go. So it said in a graph of a horizontal line, the y value is always going to be constant. So what that basically means is on this line right here, no matter what x equals, y is always going to equal -1 because that is where that line is on the y-axis. It crosses at -1. And no matter what x is, if x is -4, y is still going to be -1. If x is 3 over here, y equals -1. So what the equation is going to look like is it's going to just be y equals, and then the number that the y crosses the y-axis. So in this case, the y, or the line, crosses the y-axis at -1. So our equation is going to be y equals -1. And there you go. That's going to be your answer to a line just like that. Because you're not going to have a slope. The slope is 0 when it has a horizontal line. So you just basically have to say y equals -1 because no matter what x equals, y will always be -1. All right, let's do one more. Let's do number 18 right here. This looks good. So we have to find the slope and the y-intercept. So to find the slope, again, we just have to pick 2 points on this graph. I'm going to pick this point right here, which is uh, 4, 0. And then the next one I'm going to pick is while I'm going down this line, it crosses right here, which is going to be 5, 0. So I actually messed up on that first one. This is 0, 4. All right, so we have 2 points. We have 0, 4, and then we followed the line to the next time it crossed, which was at 5, 0. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can either just do the rise over run thing, where from here to here, we rose negative 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And then we ran from here to here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So our slope is negative 4 over 5. Or you can put these two coordinates into this slope formula and figure out what the slope is. So we can do that real quick too. The slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we can go ahead and label our points real quick. Since this is the first one coordinate I see, I'm going to make this x1 and y1. Since this is the second coordinate I see, I'll make this, sorry, I am getting all confounded. X2 and Y2. And then you can put them into the formula. So Y2 is 0. Go ahead and mark that out. We're going to subtract that by Y1, which is 4. And then X2 is 5, and we're going to subtract that by 0. And that'll give us a slope of negative 4 over 5. So that's two ways you can find the slope on this graph. You can either figure out how much you rose, which in this case, since this is a negative graph, we actually rose negative 4 times, and then how much you run. How much you rose is your numerator, how much you ran is your denominator. Or you can just pick the 2 points and put them in the slope formula and figure out what the slope is. So that's the different ways we did it, but at the end of the day, we figured out that slope was going to be negative 4 over 5. So then we just have to find the y-intercept. Remember, guys, slope is in, so let's find the y-intercept, which is going to be b. All right, so the y-intercept again is where this line crosses the y-axis. So if you follow the line, it crosses almost immediately at 4 on this y-axis. Therefore, our y-intercept is 4. It would be a plus 4 because this is a positive 4. So now that we have both of those information, we have the slope and the y-intercept, we have to put it into this equation, y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. And since we have both of those, we can just go ahead and put them in. So it ends up being y equals negative 4/5 x plus 4. And guys, that is going to be your answer. That's it. Guys, if you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to contact me. I miss y'all very much, and I can't wait to see y'all again. See ya. Bye.